Jackie Chan was not only an action movie legend, he was also a savvy businessman whose investments extended far beyond the world of entertainment. For years, he had owned hotels, restaurant chains, and various businesses around the world. But this time, this purchase was different. He had just acquired the Golden Star, a starred restaurant nestled in the heart of a vibrant metropolis, an establishment known for its refinement and exclusivity. Yet behind her crystal chandeliers and crisp linen tables, Jackie saw a much more subtle, but no less dangerous problem. A deeply rooted elitist and discriminatory mentality. He had heard persistent rumors about the treatment of clients judged unworthy of this temple of gastronomy. Some were greeted with warmth and deference, while others were refused entry on the grounds that the establishment was full. A simple excuse to sort customers based on subjective criteria, often linked to appearance, social origin, or clothing. Jackie, who had grown up poor and knew the value of respect, could not tolerate such injustice in a place that now belonged to her. His restaurant would not be a simple symbol of luxury, but a space where every person, regardless of their appearance, would be welcomed with dignity. But before imposing his values and reviewing personnel management, he decided to observe reality with his own eyes. That evening, dressed simply in jeans and a dark sweater, Jackie pushed open the door.
The Golden Star.
No tailored suits, no outward signs of wealth.
Just an ordinary man wanting dinner.
As soon as he crossed the threshold, he immediately felt the scrutinizing gaze of the butler, Francis, a tall, thin man with a stern appearance. His impeccable suit contrasted with the coldness that emanated from him. His eyes, accustomed to sizing up customers in a split second, swept Jackie from head to toe. The verdict fell immediately in his contemptuous gaze. This man had no business being here. He wrinkled his nose as he noticed Jackie's slightly worn shoes. A client without a luxurious watch, without a designer suit, and above all, without the arrogant presence of those who thought they were entitled to everything. An intruder. Francois didn't even bother to open the reservations register. He crossed his arms, his overly polite tone dripping with condescension. "Sorry, sir, but we are full this evening." Jackie, unfazed, looked around the room. Several tables were clearly empty. "Really? However, it seems to me that there is room." Francois sighed, clearly annoyed by the insistence of this unwanted customer. He cast a knowing glance at Luke, a young waiter in training, before whispering in a dry tone, "I'll take care of this guy. Welcome the real customers instead." Luke hesitated for a moment, uncomfortable, but obeyed. He knew that Francis was intransigent and that it was better not to challenge his decisions. Still, he couldn't help but feel uneasy. Francois turned back to Jackie, his cold smile plastered on his lips.
"Listen, sir.
This restaurant is a prestigious establishment. I doubt we'll have anything that fits your budget." He paused, savoring his moment of superiority, before adding in a honeyed tone, "Maybe you should try somewhere more accessible?" Jackie immediately understood the implication. It wasn't about money. He could have pulled out a black card and booked the entire restaurant in a snap. No, he was judged by his appearance. He smiled inwardly. This was exactly the kind of behavior he feared. But instead of getting angry, he remained calm. "You mean I don't look like I can afford to dine here?" Francois chuckled lightly, a dry, mocking laugh. "Let's say that this restaurant is aimed at a certain clientele." Jackie nodded slowly, as if processing the answer. "Okay, in that case, call the owner. I would like to talk to him." Francois actually burst out laughing this time. "The owner? Do you really think a man like him would bother for you?"
"Look, I'm wasting my time. Good evening, sir."
He made a gesture to call security, but before anyone could intervene, a deep, confident voice echoed through the room.
"Don't bother, Francois.
The owner is already there."
A brutal silence fell over the restaurant.
All eyes focused on Jackie, who remained imperturbable, hands in his pockets. For a moment, the butler thought he had heard wrong. But the slight smile on Jackie's face was no joke. Slowly, with perfectly controlled nonchalance, Jackie took out a carefully folded document from her inside pocket. He placed it on the counter, unfolded it slowly, and slid it towards Francois with a precise gesture. The deed of ownership of the restaurant. Francois became livid. His face lost all color as cold sweat broke out on his forehead. His legs buckled slightly beneath him, and his arrogance, so imposing moments earlier, collapsed like a house of cards. Jackie stared at him calmly, without apparent anger, but with an intensity that cut through Francois like an icy blade.
I'm Jackie Chan.
And this restaurant? It's mine. A murmur of disbelief ran through the room. Some customers, who had witnessed the scene with amusement or indifference, sat up, now captivated by this spectacular turnaround. Others exchanged stunned looks, realizing the magnitude of the situation. The restaurant staff, frozen, held their breath. Was the famous Jackie Chan their boss? Surprise was visible on everyone's faces. Francois opened his mouth without any sound coming out. He tried to stammer out an apology, his voice trembling and unrecognizable.
Chan.
I didn't know. I'm sorry. His clenched fingers gripped the edge of the counter, searching for a foothold, an escape, but there was none. Jackie stared at him for a long moment. His gaze expressed neither anger nor contempt, only deep disappointment. Then he let out a slight sigh. It's not just me you owe an apology. This is every person you treated with contempt because they didn't fit your idea of wealth. The words echoed in the room like an irrevocable sentence. Francis' contempt had just been laid bare, exposed before everyone. There were no more possible pretenses, no more valid excuses. The silence, which had become heavy, stretched on. Some customers, embarrassed, lowered their eyes. Others nodded slowly, recognizing in these words an often silenced truth. Francois opened his mouth, but no sound passed his lips. He knew there was nothing to answer. Jackie then turned to Luc, the young waiter who, earlier, had seemed uncomfortable with Francois' attitude.
And you, Luc?
He asked in a softer voice. Would you be willing to greet every customer with respect, regardless of their appearance? Luc, who had not dared to move since the beginning of the scene, suddenly straightened his shoulders. He felt the weight of the moment, the importance of his response. He nodded with conviction.
Yes, Chan.
Everyone deserves to be well received.
A sincere smile stretched Jackie's lips.
He nodded slowly. Then you will be promoted.
From tomorrow, you will replace Francois as head waiter. A flash of surprise lit up Luc's eyes.
He stammered, stunned.
But
you have shown respect and integrity where others have shown arrogance and contempt. This is exactly the spirit I want here. Luc felt his heart race, while several employees exchanged approving smiles. Finally, someone rewarded human value above appearances. Meanwhile, Francois turned even more pale. His back stiffened from shock. He had lost everything he thought he controlled in a matter of minutes. Jackie turned to him, her gaze darkening slightly.
As for you, Francois.
The former butler swallowed hard, feeling the sentence approaching. I will never tolerate this type of discrimination in my establishment. You are fired. The axe fell. Francois faltered slightly, trying to protest, but he knew it was useless. He had just been swept away by his own arrogance. Jackie turned towards the room. His gaze swept over customers and employees with a calm authority, a quiet strength that commanded respect. In my restaurant, everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter what she looks like. It doesn't matter what she wears. What matters is respect. A silence. Then, slowly, a customer applauds. Another followed. And suddenly, thunderous applause broke out. The staff, the customers, even some regulars who had never thought about this silent discrimination, all applauded the man who had just restored order to this place. Jackie, for his part, did not seek to savor this triumph. He just gave Luc and the other employees a discreet smile before going to sit at a table. This time he was served with a care and respect that he felt was sincere. That evening, he didn't just have a meal. He had taught an unforgettable lesson.